Welcome, everybody, to a Delco Nerd Network podcast. My name is Anthony Ragucci, and here with a few friends from the Delaware County area, we get in the basement and we talk about a certain topic. Today's topic is going to be DNN's Game of the Year, and who best to discuss that with? Of course, my co-host, you know him, you love him, the triple threat, Chris Trio.
Gooch, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. First podcast of the new year,
Indeed.
2023.
As of recording, it is, the 8th? So we took a little bit of a break there for the holidays. I mean, we were still posting things, of course, but we're back. We're freshened up. We're renewed. And you know what we didn't get the chance to say on the last podcast? I meant to. Thank you to everyone who listens. I don't know. I really didn't. I didn't get the chance.
Perfect segue, because I was gonna talk about how lately, like, all of our podcasts have been doing really, really well.
Yeah, they've been jumping up a lot. So we really appreciate you guys sticking around with us, watching us throughout these whole years. I mean, we've been doing this for 5 years, 4 years,
five, 6.
That's actually insane that it's been over half a decade. But seriously, thank you all so much for watching, supporting,
6,
following. That's insane. But yeah, big shout out. But we're back for another year of Delco Nerd Network. Gooch, what have you been playing or doing or watching lately?
I feel like I have a lot to discuss.
I have a lot on mine too.
Yeah,
I'm probably going to cut some of mine, but
I was thinking,
yeah, because we'll
thing.
have another podcast actually coming out this month too, so we can save a little juice for that. Or maybe it'll be the beginning of next month anyways, but
I was like, we haven't decided if it's going to be February or January,
Yeah.
because it's going to be at the end of the month. But
so
yeah, we'll see. One game that I've been playing for, I guess, like a pretty much exactly a month is Midnight Suns, and I'm definitely going to talk a little bit about today. But Midnight Suns has been a little hint as to what I'm going to talk about. A very surprisingly fun experience. Yeah, made by Firaxis. It's like an XCOM Marvel card strategy game, and it's fucking stellar. But I'll definitely save a little bit of that for the podcast.
Sure.
We did a review on Callisto Protocol not too long ago, and I have officially platinumed that, or 100%ed that, as well as Skyrim. I'm done.
Woo!
Skyrim I finished. I think I clocked in
Check
at
it
like
off.
200 some hours. So like I remember like my
Wow.
first playthrough through Skyrim was like 400.
So this is with the knowledge. This is with your prior knowledge. You're going in,
Right. So I didn't do everything, but I did everything to get all the achievements. I had to. So I missed one. So in the Daedric Artifact quest, there's a Daedric Artifact that doesn't count as a Daedric Artifact, and I had to redo all the Daedric Artifact quests again on another character.
Why? What do you mean? I'm confused. Like, like one of the options for the.
The
Is like,
Rueful Axe is not a Daedric artifact. The Mask of Clavicus Vile is. So I had to redo everything.
That's annoying.
Yeah. I spent like, it took me like...
Isn't there another one where you get like 2 options, or is that the only one?
Yeah, the Ring of Heracine and the, it's like an armor.
And it's not the same.
No.
That's
You can
dumb.
actually get them both if you like glitch
yeah.
it.
Oh, well.
But yeah, I had to go back and do that. But yeah, Skyrim ended up being really, really fun. Towards the end, I kind of like, once I was in Solstheim and stuff and doing the Dragonborn DLC, I was kind of like at my wit's end a little bit. Like I didn't really feel like doing all the side quests there. And I was like, you know, like I kind of feel bad about that shit sometimes, especially like on a first playthrough. But I'm like, I've played this game before.
That's
like,
what I mean. It's the first playthrough of this
achievements.
edition, but
Right,
Yeah.
and get the hell out of there.
Sure.
I went past Callisto Protocol pretty quick. That I basically just had to do another playthrough and get all the collectibles. Like nothing really.
achievements weren't that hard.
No, one playthrough and then some miscellaneous cleanup, and then again, since there's no chapter select. What is up with games nowadays and no chapter select? I feel like I just played like Crisis Core doesn't have a chapter select. Callisto doesn't have.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going through like
select.
a linear game like that, there absolutely should be like a chapter select.
Like, why not?
Yeah. But you had to, I guess, play it over again to get to that certain spot in the game or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I missed more than a few things.
Is there a
so-
save system of any kind? Like, can you save like in those chapters, or do you?
Yeah,
but you only have so many, I assume too.
But I didn't. I'm like, I don't know what I missed, and I'm just like, I'll just replay the whole thing. And it didn't take me that long. Yeah, I mean, I've been playing a ton of stuff recently. Crisis Core, which I just mentioned, which we'll be reviewing next week, so I won't say too much about that. Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. I'm hopping back into that, doing the DLC, which is an absolute fucking
nightmare.
I feel like I'm hitting my head against a wall of bricks. I don't understand why you would base like a content drop on difficulty, like it just being hard. It's so hard, and I'm just like, this is horrible.
And is it hard in just like a bully, like a spongy way, like a
Yeah,
spongy
like you
enemy
get
way?
one shot and the enemies are just spongy.
Yeah,
Like it's just like, this isn't difficult. Like, and it's just like
you're just upping the stats basically to make it more that they are.
Yeah, so like and Team Ninja kind of like does that a little bit with their games, like min-maxing stats, kind of, you know, trying to get the full effect of a build and stuff. But I think here it's just like, this is like too much. Like I just want to like play the game and have fun and do this DLC and get in and get out and not slam my head against the wall, like spending like hours doing this. And that's really all I've been playing. I mean, obviously, you know, we reviewed God of War. I'm trying to think of what else is up there. I talked about Midnight Suns. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of it. And not too many new games like in the last like month. It was just Crisis Core and Midnight Suns that I kind of ended the year with. I did watch Glass Onion the other night. Pretty good film. And I know you watch it. Knives Out is definitely
superior
in my opinion. Yeah, I thought we were talking about it like right before we started recording. I just think Glass Onion is a bit weird. It has like this strange like unrealness to the narrative and the characters. I'm like, this just does not seem like it could actually be real. Where it felt like Knives Out, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, this feels like kind of real.
Yeah, Glass Onion really leans into the eccentricities, I would say, and such. But no, I agree with you. It's definitely not better than the first one.
Stargirl finished up. So, I mean, obviously, we actually probably haven't talked about it on the podcast, but we talked about it in the Discord, which if you're not in, you can join in the description. You know, did the CW versus on its way out, and Stargirl is like, I still don't even like Superman and Lois is in the Arrowverse, but like it's not, but it is, but it's not. So that got canceled and it finished, and it was pretty good. It finished on a pretty cool note. But obviously, like when the Flash finishes, that will be it. That we're definitely gonna have to do like a podcast after that finishes, not reviewing.
No, yeah,
that
just
season,
kind of
but
in
like
retrospective,
being like,
almost.
Hey, like
Yeah,
like a retrospective, because it's funny how the Arrowverse did kind of start a lot of superhero TV stuff, because Marvel definitely wasn't doing it at the time.
No, for sure.
And you know,
especially in that way. I mean, and I feel like, you know, a lot of those CW shows, it's fine. I feel like they're a bit of soap opera disguised in some superhero stuff. But I feel like the Flash was the peak of that, where they just leaned into it so well in the first season. And that first season of Flash, I would love to go back and rewatch it for sure.
Yeah, and then they kind of did more and more spin-offs, and it kind of like
just became muddled.
Right, and then it all kind of got canceled, which is like realistically, which is fine. I don't know how much longer like all that shit could have gone. Like I don't think like, you know, like even like Legends of Tomorrow, even though people were kind of pissed that got canceled, it didn't get its ending.
Sure,
were like upset, but I'm like, I don't think like that many people were actually like watching.
No, for
that
sure.
show.
Yeah, I think it had its diehard fans. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's Stargirl. I'm trying to remember the villain was Ultra Humanite. And they didn't reveal it until like the very end.
I saw an action scene from that show, and I was like, "This is way better than it has any right to be."
Yeah,
at some points, like
Stargirl's like abilities, I like they were always good looking. And Joel McHale played Starman.
Yeah.
In this, he was introduced, I think, at the end of last season.
Oh, he came back like fully. Yeah.
They tell. I mean, I can spoil it.
Yeah,
if
I guess
want.
you're right. Yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah,
I might watch.
But
they
they reveal like what's going on with that.
Sure.
It's like because like you know they kill the Justice Society and then like Starman's just back.
Interesting.
And then they explain as to what happened. Yeah, I think Breck Bassinger was great in that role. And at least they got canceled and they were able to actually end it.
Yeah, I heard. Didn't they film like two different finales?
Yeah,
sure.
And I assume, you know, they saw that coming a mile away.
Well, why? Yeah, I mean, if they filmed two separate finales,
they
knew it was
coming.
definitely on the table.
Especially now, like it's funny because I mean, I don't like since we're, we've been talking a lot about the DC shakeups, it's like the CW verse really hasn't been in the conversation all that much.
I feel like it's been on the downturn for a while.
Like, I'm surprised
before.
Gunn hasn't come out and been like, yo, like the CW stuff, we're phasing it out.
Well, I think they've just been doing that.
Because I would assume that's under his jurisdiction. And
now everything is, I think, under that. That seemed to be already being done though before he even came in. I mean,
right?
Like everything is up. Yeah, I don't know.
It's just like Marvel show shit.
I think it's just so
just
separate. Like, and even that's just so much more. Yeah, but you're right for sure.
Two more things. Were you able to check out A Christmas Story Christmas?
No, I wasn't. Did you enjoy it? I saw you gave it a pretty good review.
Yeah, I really liked it. Like I watched it with my mom, and I was really enjoying it. And the end is like perfect. I think it's like exactly what a sequel to a cult
like
hit
a legacy sequel
needed to be. Like it's not like it's obviously it's like nostalgia, but like it really is like its own thing.
It's not just member berries.
I mean, it is member berries. Like,
of course, that's
Christmas is member berries.
No, it's not just member berries. I should say.
No,
of course, there is some member berries sprinkled in.
Yeah, so it's Ralphie like as an adult, having his own family and going back to his hometown for Christmas. Like his dad died.
Yeah,
and
his mom's not in it, right? Or is
the
she?
Original actress, no,
not, yeah.
But his mom is in
Sure.
it. But it's a different actor.
Got it.
So yeah, they go back to I forget what because of the age
Awesome.
home or something
Yeah.
like that, and they go back for Christmas, and they run into like the kid, all the kids that like were main characters, like the kid, the two kids that get like their tongues stuck to the pole, and fucking Scott Farkas or whatever his name is.
Scud Farkas.
Like they call him like Scud.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But it's like Scott. I don't know. Yeah, he's in it. And it was like entertaining. Like it's definitely like a kid movie, but like there's this part where like they do the double dog dare scene, and they're like in a bar, and like one of the guys owns a bar, and he like doesn't pay his tab, but he's friends with him, so he gets away with it, and he like double dog dares him to like go down this like mining shaft that's like a slope that like you like sled off of. And he does it, and then like all the adults are like drunk and like starting to like sled down and like just eating shit, like
my God.
utterly
Yeah,
like
really
I'm like,
hard. Yeah.
This is
funny.
funny. Yeah. I was like, yeah, and then the ending is like really good. I was just like, oh my God, I didn't see it go in that direction, but next year I would definitely watch it. Last thing, I watched Dragon Age Absolution, which is a Dragon Age animated. I would say it's more an animation than an anime. But it's a show that takes place after Inquisition, and it's about sort of teeing up, I guess, what we're gonna see in Dragon Age Dreadwolf, and I really enjoyed it. It's 6 episodes. It's a heist. You're in. It gets deep really quick, and it resolves
20-minute
itself.
episodes, I assume. 25 minutes.
24-minute episodes. I really liked it. I finished it in like 2 days. I did. I'm gonna
check it out.
3 and 3. I think like with your base knowledge of Inquisition, you're good. Like some of the characters are ex-Inquisition members. They're looking for like a magical artifact, and it takes place in Tevinter, which is where Dreadwolf is going to take place. We've never been to Tevinter.
What's Dreadwolf? The new game, or
the new game?
Okay.
Who is the Dreadwolf? Is Solus?
Got it.
Yeah, I don't know. You didn't beat it, right?
I have no idea.
So Solus, the guy, the mage with the bald head, he's an elf.
Sure,
he is actually a god. As disguised as a human, and he's kind of pulling the strings of that game, you find out. And yeah, so
the mage that you meet at the beginning of
yep.
Inquisition. I've tried multiple times to go back to Inquisition. I don't know why, I just can't. I think it's the combat I just really don't love. But
yeah, so he kind of starts all the events of that game, and he's like in the final DLC, like he confronts you and like tells you all the stuff and like why he was doing what he was doing. And basically like the Inquisition at the end disbands, but they have this like ulterior motive of like, we're gonna go after Solus.
I see.
And so they're like, the Inquisition is like forced to not be the Inquisition anymore. You can either totally disband or become like more of a peacekeeping force. Like they disband in the sense of they like
they rebrand themselves almost.
Yeah, and they're going after
classic
Solus.
rebrand.
So, but
when a company gets outed and they just have to rebrand to get away from the fucking shit. Ugh.
Yeah, like the Divine forces them to stop because they become such like a powerhouse because of like the need of them at the time, that they become like this like essentially like like a big boss like outer heaven like military force that doesn't answer to anybody.
Sure.
They just kind of like
They just do it. Yeah.
they do their own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm really looking forward to the next Dragon Age game, and it ends on such a cool note for Dragon Age 2 fans, and I was like, oh fuck, man, I'm
So do you think
excited.
this is necessary viewing for if you're going to go into
If
the
you're a
game?
Dragon Age fan, yeah, I think it is.
But if you're just
necessary
like, if
viewing.
I'm going into the next game, I think it looks cool. Do you think I should watch this? I mean, they haven't shown anything about the game, right?
Not really. I don't think it's
we
like
just know it exists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. We don't really know anything about it other than it's going to take place in the continent of the Tevinter Imperium, which we've never been to in Dragon Age. We just know a lot about it. And Tevinter is like, I'm trying to think of how to describe it. It's really magical based society, and the mages are the aristocracy, and they have slaves. They enslave elves. They enslave minorities, mostly just elves. But like slavery is like widely acceptable, and they practice a lot of forbidden arts of magic and stuff, and they get away with a lot. And they have like a different sect of religion compared to everyone else.
Got it.
So it's like their own thing. Like they're really their own thing, and they always like. Usually when they talk about them, it's like a negative,
Not in a good way.
like Tevinter,
Yeah.
like those fucking weirdos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But that's it for me, man.
I like it. That sounds like a pretty good list. Yeah, I have been watching a lot of stuff. I feel like from what the fuck? Sorry, I just got a random text from a person. I don't know who that is in a random picture. I don't like that. It was like of a moth. I don't know what's happening. Movies wise, I've been watching a ton over the holidays, but I'm not going to get into everything. I'm just going to give you a couple that I would highly recommend and you can watch right now. Last night we watched The Menu on HBO
That's with
Ralph Fiennes.
yeah, and
Fiennes? I can't.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
It was very good. A deeply like unsettling film in the way of it just you feel uncomfortable the whole time watching it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's 2 hours. It's on HBO Max for free right now. Definitely would recommend. Then we also watched this other one called God's Crooked Lines. It's on Netflix.
It's Crooked Lines.
It's actually a foreign language film. It's in Spanish, I believe, and it's kind of like
I
a
believe you got through the whole movie.
pretty confident. Yeah, I'm pretty confident it was Spanish. I don't know, or it might have been Portuguese. No, it definitely was Spanish. Anywho, it's kind of like a murder mystery. This woman gets sent to an asylum, and there's a lot of different things going on, and maybe she's there for one reason, but actually it's another reason. And is she crazy or is she sane? Kind of reminds me a bit of Leo DiCaprio, Shutter Island. I would say it's a bit in that vein. Would definitely recommend. I thought it was very cool. Why does my phone keep shutting off? Glass Onion, like you said, of course. We watched Strange World on Netflix too. The new, or I'm sorry, not on Netflix, on Disney. It's their
that animated
it's their newest
movie
animated
that they
movie.
let out to die. Yeah.
Very wild and cool visuals, and like it's an interesting world, but the characters and the story was just so odd and all over the place that I just didn't care. Kind of sad for, I think, like their pedigree. That's DreamWorks, I believe, or whatever. Like, or is that their animation company? I can never remember.
No. Pixar,
right? But yeah, I don't know. I mean, had Jake Gyllenhaal in like the lead role.
Really?
And it's funny. It just felt like he just kind of got in the room and said the lines. Like, I don't know. He was fine. He's usually amazing in every movie I watch him in. But
I've been listening to a podcast called I Hear Voices. It's with Will Friedle and Christy Carlson Romano. And Will Friedle has kind of like noticed this trend where animated movies will get actors to be voice-over actors, but instead they should be getting voice actors to actually be in these roles.
that's true, but they need to put a name at the top of the poster.
Right, and that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you can have The Rock in the main role, but like, why don't the rest of the cast be voiceover actors?
No, it's true.
And not just
but
like,
again, then you have other
Willem
people.
Dafoe coming in and being.
But then you can say
Jimmy
Willem
the
Dafoe
Puppet.
is in your movies. But I mean, I do think there are great examples of real actors doing voice acting very well.
Yeah, but then like you just said, like
But-
Jake Gyllenhaal kind of comes in and phones it in.
Yeah, and maybe that's because he just didn't know what was going on, because the story is very like, what is happening? But I don't know. I mean, it's free on Disney if you have kids. Watch it with them. We just watched it because it was the new like Disney animated movie, and it was But speaking of Jake Gyllenhaal, I finally watched
Ambulance?
Prisoners. His most seminal works. I'm sorry. No, Prisoners.
Prisoners is fucking.
I had never
great.
seen it, and I was like, dude.
Yeah,
it's a
really-
dark film, obviously. Very
Dano.
heavy themes. Paul Dano being
That role
Paul
probably
Dano.
got him the Riddler.
Oh no, and I think that's kind of the role he's played a lot. To be honest, he's
he
like,
is.
like I don't even know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
But man, what a crazy film! I totally did not realize that was Denis Villeneuve. Directed that. He's did a great job. He really kind of sets the scene and the mood. It's a dark film, but I would highly recommend it. Hugh Jackman is awesome in it. So is Jake Gyllenhaal. They both lead it very well. And then Violent Night we saw last night. Theater experience wasn't great, but I would highly recommend the movie. It was so much fun. One of the best action films I've seen in a while. Gooch, it was almost a high tier film. It was almost a high tier film.
So it's mid tier.
It's a mid tier film just because of the length. If it would be an absolutely perfect film if you shave 20 to 25 minutes off.
Did you see what
that.
I said in Discord?
No, I didn't.
I was like, Trio likes a short but powerful experience.
That you can trademark that and put that on a T-shirt.
Put that on as your gravestone.
And then last but not least, Del Toro's Pinocchio was really cool.
Dude, I need to.
You need to watch it. It was awesome.
Yeah,
It's dark. It really kind of commits to the more horror-ish aspects of that story. Not horror, but dark is the word.
The more like the original story.
Yes, yeah,
Right,
and I mean
right.
it connects right to World War II, and I mean it's like the Nazis.
Really?
Yeah, like the Nazis, like the
that's-
fascism at the
of
time is
course.
heavily involved.
Guillermo loves doing that shit.
Dude.
You've seen Pan's Labyrinth, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Same. That's exactly what I thought of
Yeah.
when you said that.
But absolutely would recommend that. It's definitely kind of dark and a little bit long, but thoroughly enjoyable just based off of the visuals alone. Games wise, I've been playing the Witcher 3 update, which has been a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I had kind of a playthrough already started where I did most of the main stuff, but I had Toussaint like completely untouched. So I've just been doing that. And Gooch, I finally understand Gwent.
Oh yeah.
I've been doing it. I've been playing
and
it.
I was like, dude, I understood it from game one.
Well, to be honest, I just remember
I
not
loved
like
Gwent.
really trying to like. I remember just being like, I don't care, and kind of like skipping through it. And you know, what, Gooch, I'm here to say I was wrong. I'm enjoying it a lot.
It's the Marvel snap of the Witcher universe.
Absolutely. Started the Quarry. That's been a lot of fun. I mean, that's the experience that you're anticipating. I got that for like $15, so that was a great steal.
I think I did platinum that recently, but I don't know if I brought it up on the podcast. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, good game, but it's just like every time I play those games, I find the flaws in Supermassive's grand design, and I'm just like, dude, you could like not in their story and in the gameplay, but in the supportive mechanics and the quality of life in the game.
In the game, yeah.
It's like, why can't I just like chapter select really easily and kind of see like the butterfly effect like Detroit Become Human does. I'm like, I need more to support this story because it's short and sweet, and like
You would like to know what you're missing, right? If
that,
you can go
but
back
also
and,
because I had because of like the trophy hunting aspect of those games and what the trophies and the achievements require. And like I remember,
lot to be asked,
for Little Hope, for some reason there was a few trophies that were like really difficult, and I couldn't seem to find the answer on the internet. It's like nobody really knew exactly like what you were supposed to do, but it like do this and that, and like it should happen, and it's like, well, like, wouldn't it be better if we just could look at this at the big picture and like go in
you
and
saw
be
that
like,
this was where the butterfly.
Right,
Yeah,
these
like
are the
Detroit
dialogue
has that
choices, and
big
this is
spider
where-
web go out. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right, and I think like whenever we get, and I'm looking forward to playing The Devil Inside.
I need to finish Little Hope too. I have
next
that.
Halloween. For sure, but I can't wait for season 2 of whatever the Dark Pictures anthology is because I hope they make those improvements.
I hope so too. They know what they're doing. They just, like you said, they need to put the finer points on it for sure.
Yeah.
Other than that, I might not have mentioned this because this is since the last podcast. Sifu, I finally got around to playing, and
Yeah.
God, I really love that game. I really, it's kind of blown me away how much I really didn't know about it and how much of my type of game it is. The combat system's great. I'll probably be talking about it more a little bit later on. But yeah, great stuff. And I finished High on Life, which I'll also be talking about a little bit more later. More great stuff that I can elaborate on further on. But that's it, Gooch. That's all I've been really up to myself.
So let's jump into our topic at hand here. Our game of the year. And of course, we'll be talking about a few other 2020 gaming related topics here, and we want to thank everyone who participated in our little form.
Yeah,
again,
thank you.
participated and chose our biggest surprises, biggest moments, what we're excited for this year and in the future, and what your favorite games of the year were. So that's exactly what we're gonna start with. And so our first question: what is your game or games of the year? Because I feel like we always have some runner-ups, right?
Absolutely.
Like for this year, there were a lot of like good games that I really enjoyed this year, and I find like naming one, the definitive game of the year, was really challenging for me. And I do have some runner-ups. Do you want to start us off? Do we want to start off with an audience one? What do you want to do?
I say let's hit us first, and then we'll go to the audience. How about that?
Yeah, whatever works.
All right, so I had 5 games on my game of the year list, in no particular order, but I will give like my game of the year. So I got Sifu, God of War Ragnarok, Elden Ring, Pentiment, and High on Life. Those are my top 5s. With my number 1,
God of War,
Sifu.
Ooh,
I think Sifu is
Trio.
truly it's something I've sucked my it's an experience.
You're about to say suck your teeth.
Sucked my teeth into.
No,
it really
suck your
sucked my teeth.
Jesus Christ!
It is such a really amazing fighting game that capitalizes on that old style like kung fu movie aesthetic, delivers an interesting story that's not too overbearing, but that has a lot to hide and has a lot more to offer than you realize on the surface, because you can kind of beat the game once without really beating it and really experiencing the full experience of the game, which is cool. And it was so much fun to go back through. I'm trying to work through the platinum right now on it. I only have 2 more
Nice. I hear
achievements.
it's pretty challenging.
It's funny. I really did not find it that bad. I did I found like most of it is just going back. There's like 4 achievements where you have to do specific actions on each level, which really overall weren't that tough when you look up how to do them. I think the hardest one so far is going to be maybe probably just finishing the game before a certain age. So like you have to finish it before 50 and before 25.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of hard. So far I've gotten through the first 3 levels with all my lives, like with staying at 20. So I think I can do it. But I didn't find the achievement list to be that bad. There are definitely some combo ones that I just got by accident by playing that I didn't even really have to think about. So that might be tough if you're trying to like go for those specifically. It might be a little annoying, but if you just play the game, you'll get a lot of them. And goddamn, Sifu is such a fun game.
Was Elden Ring in your list?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That was
I
absolutely.
was
That would
thinking,
probably
I didn't remember.
It might actually go exactly how I listed it if I really had to list it by.
you don't have to do that.
No, I'm not going to. Gooch, what about you?
I was gonna say, why don't we jump to an audience one?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Chris Connor writes in and says, "Pokemon Legends Arceus would probably be it for me. His game of the year. I was intrigued with the direction of the Pokemon company was going with this one. More open world exploration with survival elements added, whereas in the past you needed a Pokemon of your own in order to encounter and capture." It was also interesting to return to a previous region in which a different point in time to change up the experience, connect the dots with characters and locations seen in the present. It was definitely a decent step forward for the series that seems to be sticking around and is being improved upon with the more massive world shown in our Scarlet and Violet. I look forward to see how the classic Pokemon format continues to evolve from this point. Interesting. I know there's been a lot of contention with Scarlet because it just runs Scarlet and Violet because they run apparently absolutely terribly.
Like shite. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm interested to get to a Switch conversation later, but because we never really, obviously you have
That's
a Switch.
A blind, yeah,
I
but
don't. It's definitely a blind spot for our podcast. That's why I included it, because it's nice to hear from people who are playing games we are not.
Absolutely.
Like Pokemon, and I did hear a lot of good things from Pokemon.
So those are just like
Arceus.
full on RPGs, right? Or are they like what? How do
Pokemon
those,
games?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I don't know exactly how. I know Arceus is different from the normal Pokemon games, but as to the details, I'm not exactly sure too much. But yeah, that's what Chris had to say. My games of the year, in no particular order: Elden Ring, A Plague Tale: Requiem, Pentiment, and I think that's it.
The 3, you got 3. I like it.
Yeah, those are the 3 that really stuck out for me.
I like it.
And I think I would have to give my game of the year to Plague Tale. I think it was just such a such a step up from such a small developer. That I really like. It's not my biggest surprise of this year, but it was just this like I was playing that game and I was just utterly moved by the story and the characters and just how deep it was going and the performances and the gameplay was good, but not so much the gameplay. So I would like to see the gameplay improve in the next one. But yeah, I was just from playing what's the first one called? Plague Tale Innocence. From playing Innocence and then going right into Requiem, I was really into it. And I didn't really like Innocence. And I liked it. But it wasn't this like, wow, this is the game of the year. No. So I was interested to see this like B tier game go to like A tier. Like really
like smoothly. It's in the pocket. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. You've gushed about it, so I really need to play it.
Yeah, and it was hard. We've talked about Elden Ring a lot.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing we didn't mention talking about the Game Awards podcast was the conversation around it. Like we talked about it like piercing the veil and like the zeitgeist, but I didn't think we really, one thing I think we did not, or we kind of like forgot to mention was like, it was just like the conversation of that game and hearing like where your friends were and what they found and what you were doing and what they were doing and your friend telling you, oh, I found this thing here, and you would go find that thing, and like the communication and like the social experience that game kind of brought to the scene is something that was like truly special. It was like so cool. Like, you know, I was doing it, we were doing it in our Discord and I was doing it in other Discords and doing it in streams and watching YouTube videos and be like, oh shit, I never found this, or yeah, I never finished that quest line, I got to go back. And, yeah, it like the experience around those games. It's like God of War Ragnarok doesn't really have that. It's, even though, you know, I feel like for a lot of people, God of War and Elden Ring are probably the game of the year
for sure.
But yeah, and maybe recency bias has something to do with it for me. It's kind of hard to tell.
For sure.
Exactly.
I mean, that will always do it. I feel like the ones at the beginning of a year, the games always kind of get sidelined to a degree because it's hard to remember how much time you put into them. And I'm trying to remember what really even came out early last year. I feel like this was a very back-ended
year, this
right?
was a real back-ended year because I'm going to bring this up, but like, yeah, like I remember in the beginning of the year, you know, it was Elden Ring and Horizon Forbidden West, and like that was it till like
Sifu
September.
Came out early, but again, that was that.
Yeah, no, that was
splash.
another
like
title that
year,
was January. It, like, you know, we had an early year, but then like, you know, March to September there was nothing.
I mean, 4 out of 5 games on my list came out in the last 3. Actually, no, Elden Ring was early, so only 3. I keep forgetting Elden Ring was March, right, or something around there.
No, February. End of February. And I do have one more audience pick. We were talking about God of War. Ian Fitzgerald says, God of War Ragnarok was my game of the year. Gameplay, story, visuals, and lore was what stood out to him. And definitely makes sense. But again,
I can't argue.
Yeah. God of War, it's just like, for me, it's just like, it just can't be.
It's a different conversation. I think they are very apples to oranges games in the way of, you experience the story is a major part of the experience in Elden Ring, or I'm sorry, in God of War, whereas Elden Ring, it's more the experience that you're there for, of like, I found this cool thing, I found this guy who gave me this armor, and like, it's not like, did you see about Sir Radagast the Grave? Like, it's like, I beat him, but you're not like concerned as much with the story of why you're beating him, whereas in God of War, that's what you're more talking about when you're talking with someone. It's not the discovery, but more the discovery of the story.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
So we're moving on to biggest letdowns. What was your biggest letdown of the year?
I don't know if this counts, but I'm going to say it anyways.
And it can be a game. It can be a moment. It doesn't really, you know.
Halo
Infinite
has been my biggest letdown of this last year for the most part. I mean, it's been picking back up. It's been picking back up in the last couple months, and I will give them a bit of credit there. But this like the first half of, I guess, this year for Halo really disappointed me.
And I think that counts because the majority of our time spent with Halo at this point has been in 2022 rather than when it came out in 2021. We only had a month or two.
I'll give them credit. They seem to be trying to dig themselves out. They got Forge out. There's a lot of cool game modes, a lot of cool Forge maps coming out. But I'm having a tough time re-downloading it and like really finding the urge to want to hop back in. And that's sad because I was talking to Ian about it, my roommate, and that had all of us.
Yeah.
He was in the other room, in the main room, playing on the Xbox.
Yeah, I remember.
I was on mine. We were in a 7-person party.
Yeah.
They had lightning in a bottle and just let it go.
Yeah.
And it's just super unfortunate. I don't know if it will ever redeem itself. Not redeem, but ever get back up to that zeitgeist nerve that it hit. And I think that would probably be my biggest disappointment of 2022. There's definitely another one that I had. I think I wrote when I even answered our questionnaire because I just did it to go through and see what we were doing. But maybe Callisto would be a runner.
That is mine.
Yeah.
Callisto is mine because it had such a big hype around Glenn
Such
Schofield.
promise. It looks great.
Yeah. And I mean, there are some other games, and Joey Farrell writes in and saying Overwatch 2. Google it. And I couldn't agree more. But I feel like I almost saw it coming and I wasn't like super excited. But for Callisto, I was really just like, holy shit. Like, dude, like I just played through the entire Dead Space series and I'm going to do that, like almost the same thing again, but with like a fresh coat of paint, new characters, new world, made by the same guy. I'm in. And it ended up being like beyond disappointing.
That really sucks because it does. Watching those reviews come out the night before and be like that.
You're like, oh no.
I was literally, it caused me, I said this on the podcast, it caused me to not buy the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Genuinely,
yeah.
I was like, this is kind of unacceptable. You're
Right.
not giving, even if they let people review that and those reviews maybe came out a week before, I might have still bought it, actually, and given it the more of a shot, but it felt like a dirty trick, not a dirty trick, maybe that's too harsh a way to put it, but a bit of a trick to be like, no, we're waiting to give you, to put for the, what's the word? The block on reviews. Embargo to lift until the night before the game comes out. So I was like, I'm just going to wait for this to go on sale. Gotham Knights right now, a running joke of bringing it up, it's $35 for sale right now. On
like I was Gotham Knights is probably like my runner up, but I almost was like, again, like I don't think I thought Gotham Knights was going to be like incredible.
It wasn't showing well. Yeah,
Callisto Protocol I thought was going to be
well.
really good. Yeah, it was showing well and it was being talked about well.
Yes, I agree.
Fred writes in and says, the biggest letdown of the year wasn't any one game, but the lack of interesting games to play. This year was definitely a drought to me, and Fred, I couldn't disagree with you more.
I agree with your disagreement.
We had a very heavy Q4. Crisis Core, Midnight Suns, Callisto, even though it wasn't the greatest game ever. God of War Ragnarok.
High on Life.
Pentiment. High on Life. You had a lot this year. And of course, Elden Ring, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We had a lot of games, but it was all at the beginning and all at the end. Yeah. But the middle was. I remember when
it was an empty sandwich.
When we were having a conversation like at the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022, we were like, this year's gonna suck. And like it kind of sucked right until like
October. Yeah, you're right.
When games started coming out and be like, new games, and they're all coming out in like 2 months.
Yeah, I gotta say, Gooch, I can't agree with you more and disagree with you more, Fred. But thank you for writing in. No, there was a good fistful of games that I had this year just from that list. And an honorable mention for my game of the year, I meant to add a PS, was Destroy All Humans. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. It was a nice little palate cleanser before like bigger, kind of more meaty games came out. I just think there was a lot of variety in this year. I think it was very disappointing in the way of what we thought was coming this year, for sure. But I think just Elden Ring alone coming out with such, not a new style, but reinventing it to a degree for an open world format and making it more accessible to a larger swath of gamers is, I think, a big deal. And even something, we got a very original freaking first-person shooter with High on Life, which, listen, I will say, if you're not like a Rick and Morty / Justin Moreland fan, that's probably not going to be your game, but it's still cool to see a first-person shooter, story-driven game come out and do well on like the Game Pass subscription service and things like that. And then you got like Pentiment, which is a game I would never see coming in a million years and never would have thought I would have enjoyed as much as I did. And it's in a format that I don't usually play as much. I mean, the closest thing I've played to that format-wise would probably be Stardew Valley. Maybe would you say like even like maybe I don't even know.
I wouldn't say they're in the same. I hear
in the
2D.
You know what I mean? I don't even. Again, I don't know. But Fred, thank you for writing it. Regardless,
Trio
Yes.
Next up, what was your biggest surprise of the year?
I really wish I wrote down the answers that I gave to these. Maybe Sifu, I would say, in the way of it was completely under my radar, and I've enjoyed it way more than I would have ever guessed. I don't know why. It looks like my game from the outside in. I just didn't put in the time to, I guess, look into what it was.
Did you buy it at launch or no?
No, I bought it like a couple
Weeks ago
or something. Yeah, it was on sale on PlayStation, and it's really amazing. And I would say probably a runner up to that would be High on Life for sure. I enjoyed that game much more than I thought I would. It's got a lot of cool combat. It's very different, very wacky, of course. So, yeah, I would say those two.
Mine would be Midnight Suns. Midnight Suns really came out of left field. One, because it got delayed, and then it got pushed up. It was delayed into early 2023, and then it was like, nah, just kidding, December 2022.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Oh, okay.
oh,
Confident are we? Yeah.
okay. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's pretty confident. And then I played it, and I'm like, dude, I love this gameplay loop. So the gameplay loop is like you create original character, the hunter. I'm playing as a female, which I found interesting choice to do. She's on the
Weirdo. No,
she's on the box art, and I didn't like the way the males looked. So I'm
Sure.
like, I'm just gonna go with a girl.
dude, I go with girls
Why
all
not?
the time sometimes in RPGs.
I really
'cause it's
don't.
like it's a different experience. Like we're living life all the time as a dude. It's a different perspective. It's interesting sometimes. I
Yeah.
mean, not many games really capitalize on
So
that.
the
but-
idea is like the Avengers are teaming up with the Midnight Suns, and the Midnight Suns are fighting against Lilith, like the demon from, I guess, biblical.
from hell. Yeah.
From hell, yeah, Lilith, and you are Lilith's daughter. And the idea is like the Midnight Suns are already at the Abbey. They're doing their thing. It's Blade, it's Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, it's Nico Minori, who's from the Runaways. It's Ileana Rasputin, aka Magic. It's a your Midnight Sun are a different cast of characters, and probably not some that you're definitely not familiar with.
It's like Justice League Dark kind of equivalent, right? You would say.
Exactly. And then with your Avengers, you get your Tony Stark, your Captain Marvel, your
Captain America?
your Doctor
too?
Strange, your Captain America, Wolverine. And I don't know if any Spider-Man, but Spider-Man isn't an Avenger. He's just his own thing. And I love when DC and superhero games throw you into their world so fucking deep.
You mean Marvel and stuff?
What did I say?
DC.
Yeah, I think I said DC and comics.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I'm sorry.
like those kind of games.
Yeah.
Like Injustice does this.
Yeah.
They throw you so deep into their world and don't explain a goddamn thing, but you are right in it.
Yeah.
You don't need to be
I love that.
explained.
No, you're right.
You don't need to explain anything.
Yeah.
I totally get
All right,
this.
they know each other. You see the dynamics. You understand what's happening.
Right. Some
Yeah.
of them know each other, some of them don't, and they quarrel and they have their own little you really feel like the Abbey is that you're really like playing like Sims with Avengers characters
That's
and
cool.
Marvel characters. And then the combat is, our RTS, you pick 3 characters, you go into the fight, and you have a deck of cards for each character, and it's really strategic, and you have to either kill all the enemies or kill the boss or recover these items, and you have to do this within a certain difficulty, and your difficulty scales. The gameplay loop is so satisfying. I don't think the story is all that great, but I just really like interacting with these characters in this world.
Sure.
And it's so plebeian. Like Robbie Reyes and Peter Parker have like a little club. It's called Shop Class, and they make shit. And and they have it every so often, and they invite the character to it. And Tony gets a whiff of this, and he starts intruding on it, and they get upset because
They don't want to make.
it's Tony. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't wanna- yeah.
And you kind of are in the middle of this little spat. And it's not. It's
So
not
there's
anything-
some somewhat RPG elements in the way of not RP, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Like Sims, like you're making choices for
Blade
these
likes
characters.
Captain Marvel, and that's like a little plot line that's going on. Magic doesn't really like anybody all that much. Like she likes the Midnight Suns, but she kind of keeps everyone at arm's length, and you get close to her, and you kind of figure out what's going on with her, and,
Sure.
and some of her past drama, and yeah, I just really like the way the characters are. It feels so much different from the MCU, and it feels really different from what Marvel's Avengers did. I don't feel like we're where that was copycat MCU.
Sure.
This doesn't feel like
This
that
feels
at
very
all.
much like Captain America's his own version, and stuff like those characters that we know very well. They don't feel like just a weird photocopy print that isn't quite right of that character. I
Yeah,
like
there
it.
really is something about this game that's special, and I fucking, like I said, the gameplay loop is so satisfying. You're upgrading all your characters, their abilities. You're upgrading the Abbey and what's in it. And you can send heroes out on missions and then go out for a day. And you do a research project and that takes a day to develop. And there's like so many different gameplay mechanics within the outside of the actual gameplay, and I just find the whole thing really enjoyable. So
I'm gonna pick it up at some point. For sure,
XCOM has been a game that's always been on my radar for as long as it's been out. The at least XCOM 2,
yep,
and the newer ones. Yeah, maybe I'll jump into Firaxis's past titles after this, and it doesn't feel. One thing I was scared was like, is this gonna be too hard? I'm on the hardest difficulty. You actually unlock difficulties as you play. I'm not sure what does that, but like I got like hard 1, and then there's like hard like 6. Like it just keeps getting more difficult. I'm not sure how you get to unlock all those, but like I enjoy the challenge, and it's fun to just be like, all right, like I'm like a few rounds into this fight, and I'm doing bad. So I'm just gonna restart the encounter.
Fuck it, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not being like super penalized. Like in XCOM games, like you lose characters if they die, and I don't feel like
you're really stuck in that.
Right, like
gotcha.
when people die, they get injured. So like if you bring them back in on another mission real quick, they're gonna start with a damage penalty or something like that, or like a health penalty.
Okay, that's interesting. So and then each individual character has their own deck. You're saying?
Yeah, they all have their own they all have their own abilities. So.
All right.
Magic uses her limbo portal she pushes people through it, and she can push them out anywhere on the map. Ooh. So you use your limbo card, you make a portal, and the portal directs people. Could be into an exploding barrel, off a ledge,
wherever,
into other people, and you could send the one guy through it, and he's going through the other side, and he's hitting whatever you're pushing him into.
Interesting.
And then like Captain America is a tank. Captain Marvel's a big damage powerhouse because she can, like, once you use enough abilities, she goes binary, and all her attacks do a lot more.
I see.
So everyone kind of has their own flavor of gameplay. What's sad is I think like Ghost Rider's like I like Robbie Ray's Ghost Rider a lot. I like his aesthetic, but I don't think I like his gameplay style all that much. He's kind of like Magic, but a little different. He does a lot of like lifesteal and soul steal, and he has his own mechanics. But yeah, you got to play it, man.
All right, man. It's on the list for sure.
And it seems like it's a long haul game. I don't think it's not a game you're gonna beat in a weekend. Like it's like a Stardew Valley or like a Skyrim. Like
you're kind of building up.
You're kind of going to be chunking out this for a while, which I'm
intrigued.
I'm fine with.
I'm intrigued. No, I like it.
So yeah, we were talking about big surprises. I went on for a little bit.
That's all right. No, I like
it. We had some writings. Andre Vufung says the reveal of Wulong Fallen Dynasty at the Xbox Showcase was his biggest surprise for the year. That's the next game by Team Ninja.
What did they do before?
So Strangers in Paradise were their last game.
Gotcha.
But Neo 1 and Neo 2 also games they make.
Gotcha.
And Chris Connor writes in and says, was surprised how much was shown for the Super Mario Brothers movie trailer. Curious to see how much more will be revealed before release.
Yeah, I really don't know. I feel like it's funny. I feel like they've simultaneously showed a lot, but not a lot at all for that.
Yeah. I need more Chris Pratt.
I do.
In my life.
I do too.
I need more Chris Pratt Mario voice.
It's a me. What is our next question, Gooch?
What games are you looking forward to most in 2023? So obviously, must have a 2023 release date. Obviously, things can be delayed, but obviously we have some dates for some stuff. So I'm gonna flat out say it. A lot of people wrote in, and a lot of people said Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Like most of the people who wrote in, mentioned Zelda. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And that was kind of making me think. I'm like, maybe we need to break our Nintendo review.
I mean, dude, I'll have this. I'm gonna buy it. I will definitely get it.
Obviously, I'm not gonna play it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, maybe I was really thinking about it because I'm like, yeah, a lot of people are looking forward to that. Clearly,
no, I'll play it for sure.
I definitely want to review it. I would love.
I'm in the castle for Breath of the Wild. I should really finish.
I just need to I'll come over to someone's house and I'll fucking watch that game. I'll
do you want to come play it over my place with me a little bit? Yeah, we can do that one night for sure.
Yeah, I'm like, I think we need to break this Nintendo kind of streak we have.
Well, and I think that's a worthy one of
right.
That's
a good one.
Yeah, that's a worthy way to do it for sure.
What's your biggest? What are you looking forward to this year?
I should have written down my things. Like I feel like there's a few games that come out like right at the beginning of next year or this year. I'm really just in the immediate excited for Dead Space remake. I am curious to see how that turns out. They seem to be staying very faithful story-wise for the first half, but we really haven't seen much at all from the second half. So I think they are going to change some things, and we'll see how that goes. So in the immediate, for sure that. There's Resident Evil 4 comes out pretty soon too, but
March.
then what else comes out around that time?
Final Fantasy 16 is in June, alongside Street Fighter and something else. Hogwarts Legacy is in February, which will be mine. I'll talk about that in a sec.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess I'll just talk about it right now.
Yeah, do it, because that's on my list.
Hogwarts Legacy is what I'm looking forward to this year. I there's a few different reasons why. I think it looks really good. Like genuinely looks absolutely fantastic. I think I have a lot of faith in those devs, and I forget who it is.
Avalanche. I'm pretty sure they just did like Just Cause and things like that before.
Are you sure? No, it's Portkey Games. I thought.
I think a lot of them are from Avalanche though. So who? I'm gonna look it up, but continue.
Yeah, I and getting off the Harry Potter Rewind review, I'm just really we haven't had a Harry Potter game like this besides a movie tie-in and Lego games, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just really looking forward to what we're gonna see here, and what I'm also really looking forward to is the people who decided to boycott this game eat their fucking lunch and realize that this game is good.
Well, but again, they don't think that it's not
being Harry Potter and being written by its original source material, being written by J.K. Rowling, has nothing to do with these developers, and that they're boycotting it for the absolute wrong reasons.
I mean, that's just, if you're truly sitting there and doing that, more power to you. You have all the you can save your money if you want, but I think that's dumb.
The foot's going to be in the mouth when we're a week before the game and the embargo comes up and it has a 9 out of 10. And
but even if it, but again, even if it doesn't, even if it's bad, like just not playing it based off of that reason alone, I just don't. I don't know if I can understand. It's a bit ridiculous to me for sure. Even if it sucks, even like because I don't feel like I see people being like, this game looks terrible. They're just like, we're not going to play it because of that reason. And it's like, okay, hey, free country, you can choose to do that. I really don't mind, but it's dumb. Yeah, I can't wait either. I think aesthetically it looks amazing. Idea wise, just the being back in the 1800s and
looking forward
the early
to the
1900s.
character creation, of
The
course.
aesthetic looks great. You get to fucking go through all of Hogwarts. Great stuff. Can't wait.
I think your listing for this was Star Wars Fallen Survivor, by the way.
Oh, that was another, because that's so close too. Actually, that's a big one for sure. Yeah,
March.
Like I was trying to think like first half of 2022 or 2023, I should say. But yeah.
Next up, basically the same question, but beyond 2023, we have a lot of games that are kind of looming, and I wanted to hear what you guys had to say. Of course,
Wait.
What?
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say what it is for you. DS2?
Death Stranding 2, baby. Let's fucking go. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have a feeling that game is going to be end of 2024 for just...
You think it's that close out? I guess Death Stranding 1 did come out in 2020. I don't see
why it wouldn't be. It's a different, Kojima isn't starting from scratch anymore. So I feel like it's a little bit different of a cadence. And obviously we haven't seen any of that game, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like, and especially since they have more in the clip, they're like doing more games. So I just have a feeling this game is going to be out sooner than later.
Gotcha.
And Christian also wrote in and said Death Stranding 2 by a country mile, of course. Like how...
I mean, Gooch, I'm going to be honest with you.
Come on.
For me, that's probably mine. Just because...
Really?
I don't know what else is coming out really majorly in the like far-flung future. Maybe, like I was going to say Wolverine, but that feels a little boring because I'm assuming that's going to be great. But what else is like super down the road at the moment that we don't like? Fable, maybe. Actually, I would say I would really hope that game ends up being a really cool and interesting reinvention of that series and genre. But we'll see.
So Ian wrote in with a few. He said Campo Santo's next game, which was we've seen it in the shadow of something. It's like. Look up Campo Santo's next game. It has a trailer in the Valley of the Valley
of the Gods.
Thank you.
In the Valley of Gods.
Yeah, and it takes place in like ancient Egypt, not ancient Egypt, but like early 1800s Egypt.
Yeah.
And Yeah, we have not heard anything about that game. I think like 7 or 8 years. And it's like I think it's a Valve published.
Oh,
And I'm like, Campo Santo did Firewatch.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I saw it.
So, and I actually play Firewatch this year.
I need to. It's on my list.
And I'm just like, yeah, that would be cool if that game came out.
You know what I just thought of too, Gooch? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay.
Might be my real one, 007.
Yeah,
I think
I would talk about that more if there was more to talk about.
For sure.
And Ian also said Star Wars Eclipse, and that's another one. It's like I think we could probably be saying that for the next 4 years.
Yeah, who knows?
We're looking forward to Star Wars Eclipse because we're not hearing about it anytime soon.
No, for sure.
Yeah, it's like it's too far off. And I think and maybe I take this one out next year because it is kind of a broad question. What are you looking forward to that it was released and we know about but isn't coming out this year? It's always like Fable, but like what is there to even talk about? Nothing.
That's what I mean, and that's what I'm like. Wolverine, nothing. Like
yeah,
I guess
if you said like Spider-Man 2, it's like okay, like we could get that game this year.
That's true. But I will say one that's another far flung is whatever Dan Houser creates next with his new company, the former Rockstar creator and studio head. So creative director actually at Rockstar. So I'm super high on whatever that could be. But yeah, we'll see.
What 2022 game did you want to play but didn't get around to?
Didn't really have much for this. I guess.
I mean, I know yours.
Callisto, right?
Oh, okay.
And what was the other one?
Plague Tale.
True. Yes. Those two I would say.
Because I remember you like I gotta play Innocence first. And I'm like, yeah, you do
for sure.
Yeah. Mine for this was and it's really it's an odd answer, but it's an answer nonetheless. Probably Project Triangle Strategy. This is a Square Enix RTS game in the vein of Final Fantasy Tactic that's exclusive to Switch.
Yeah.
So that's why I haven't played it because I don't have the console to play it. But Square always does this when they do Switch exclusive games. It's gonna come to another console at some point. But that's a game like I love the. Like it's like the Octopath Traveler hybrid 2D 3D style that I think is really popular right now. Live Alive is also like that. Octopath Traveler 2 is gonna look like that as well. Yeah, that was a game that I was just like, yeah, I would love this game, but I don't have a Switch.
Yeah, one time. Oh Jesus Christ, that was a weird hiccup. We'll get you on it one time, Gooch. Maybe you'll buy one. Who knows? Maybe I'll just gift you one and you'll have. I mean,
maybe
it.
If they get trophies, I'll think about it. You know, that's
fair enough.
That's all I need to do.
Fair enough.
And Christian wrote in and said, Stray and Plague Tale were his.
Yeah, Stray I didn't finish. I will say I started it, never got back around to it.
What was your favorite game that you played this year that did not come out this year?
The Witcher 3. Not that this is I assume the question is meant to be like what you're playing for the first time this year.
Yeah,
but I don't really have anything.
You didn't have anything from the backlog that hard.
Not that wasn't that from this year really that I can think of. Yeah, like Sifu.
You kind of jump. You jump. You play a lot. You jump a lot.
I jump for sure. But I haven't played anything new from years past. But that new Witcher 3 update, chef's kiss. Really good. Lots of quality of life improvements.
Yeah, mine is Greedfall.
Okay.
That was like a really Eurojank RPG from Spiders, published by Focus Entertainment, which also does Plague Tale, which is doing a lot of games that I'm really interested in lately. And I think playing Greedfall really got Focus Entertainment on my radar. And I like what their games they're putting their money behind and backing. And yeah, and I really liked Greedfall. Again, it's not perfect, and like I said, it's like Eurojank the RPG.
Sure,
I've said that a few times. It's like it's got this like weird like way of being that is just different, and it's like okay, I kind of like this. It's got some charm. The Eurojank.
Yeah. Okay,
but yeah, Focus Entertainment is a publisher I really have my eye on. They just put out like Evil West and a few other games, and like they did a lot at the end of the year, and I'm just like, yeah, I like what I see from them from between Greedfall and Greedfall is getting a sequel.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye on them.
Obviously, a Plague Tale.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had one. Not run. one write-in, but the write-in I chose, Heisenberg, he played Doom 2016 this year. Still haven't played Eternal. I think that's going to be on my list soon.
It's a good one to go back to,
play
for
Eternal.
sure. I really enjoyed Eternal. I love Doom 2016 as well. I mean, great game.
Yeah.
Good one to go back to.
And our last but not least, a little bit of bonus one, because I think last year we talked about we did a podcast of what we watched, and I don't think that did too well. But I still wanted to do talk about our favorite movies or TV shows or comic books or books from the year. Yeah. So Trio, what was your favorite movie or TV show or book or comic that you read in this year?
I was really kind of thinking this over. I was trying to think what it just enthralled me the whole time, like movie or TV show wise. And you know what it might be, Gooch? I need to simmer on this. I almost don't want to say it right now.
Why?
It might be Violent Night.
What?
I love that movie so
Weird.
much.
That's
It was
you watched it
just
last night, man. Come on.
I know. That's why I'm saying I'm going
Recency
a little
bias.
hard. It is a recency bias, and that's why I'm saying take that with a big ol' asterisk. And there's probably a bunch of things I'm forgetting about. That's kind of maybe more of my funny answer. I really just love the hell out of that movie. But it might be kind of boring. I think I might have to say it, though.
The Batman?
Yeah, it's the Batman. I fucking thoroughly enjoyed that film.
We had a few write-ins about the Batman for sure. Eris wrote in and said Cyberpunk Edge Runners had no business being that good and dropped out of nowhere. Yeah, for shows, Cyberpunk Edge Runners for me is definitely it. That show hit me fucking real hard, and it had a huge boom for Cyberpunk. It was like, it really was Cyberpunk's second life.
And honestly, I think it might be the reason we get I know they only said one DLC so far, but if Phantom Liberty does well on top of that big push they got from Edge Runners, I could see them being like, you know what, we'll do a second DLC for this. We're actually working on one. But that's my hopeful attitude, I guess.
And my movie would definitely be Top Gun Maverick. Without a fucking doubt.
That
movie was stellar.
It was better than it had any right to be, too.
Just did not expect this movie to be nearly as fucking intense and I just felt like such a back to basics for film. And
it was just such a surprise.
Part of it's
too,
nostalgia, but part of it is just like this is a really well made movie
with characters you care about.
Yeah,
and a story that's riveting.
It's a cool. It's like a cool action movie. It's not trying to be much more. It's
great war propaganda as well, but it's fine. That's okay. God, they were setting up army recruitment things outside of Screamings. That's fine, but no, it's a great movie. It's a fucking amazing movie. I love it so much.
Fred wrote in and said, "The Northman."
I've heard that multiple times this year.
Top Gun, The Batman. And he said his favorite anime was Chainsaw Man, which I've been seeing a lot of clips of.
It seems wild.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm like, would I watch this? Should I watch this? I don't know. But yeah, Chainsaw Man is definitely on my radar in a manner of speaking.
For sure.
But yeah, Trio. That's it.
Game of the year, 2022.
Plague Tale Requiem.
Sifu for me. Absolutely. Go play those two games. And play many more. There's a good amount this year. I really think there's these end of the year sales going on right now. I know there's one on Xbox. You can get a lot of stuff for super cheap. It's worth going back for sure. Good year.
Yeah, this year shaped up.
It did.
We had Elden Ring at the top, and it was fucking great. And Elden Ring kept us busy for a while there.
Yep.
And then at the end of the year, we got proven a little bit wrong that 2022 was going to be a pretty good year with God of War, with Plague Tale, with Midnight Suns, with Pentiment. All these really not
just
every
bookends.
Game was like a AAA knockoff. Even Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, right? That was this year.
Yes, Modern Warfare 2, the second two.
Yeah, that did pretty well. A lot of people liked that campaign. It seems like I'm like, oh, is Call of Duty actually getting their stride? Again, it kind of seems so.
At least zeitgeist-wise, definitely.
Maybe not Warzone 2. I don't think Warzone 2 was received.
I'm so out of that community, I could never tell you.
And this might be kind of apparent, but I really try to know a lot about the games I don't play, even though.
No, it's
I don't exactly. I don't play them. I try to know what's going on and what's in the conversation and. Seeing what's going on with Warzone and seeing what people are talking about with Call of Duty.
You can definitely read the room
Pokemon.
a bit, for sure.
Yeah. I'm as a hobbyist and an enthusiast, and as a podcaster, like I'm like I need to know like what's going on. I can't be like totally oblivious to every single
No, absolutely,
game
and that it is
play.
nice to have kind of those more general, like we said, our blind spot's definitely Nintendo, but to have a more generalist like podcast you can go to or source that you can watch and you get those pieces of information that, like for Nintendo, for instance, that I'm not really looking out for. So yeah, for sure, Gooch.
Yeah, 2023 will be hopefully a good year for us. We had a good like last half of the year
For sure.
with our views and stuff, and we got some not anything. We got things cooking, but not like a new thing.
Rewind review will be announced probably within the next month. The next one. I've been really.
Should I say the other thing? Should I do that?
If you want, I don't know. That's totally up to you. Until we can, do you want to wait one more, or do you want to?
Yeah,
just
well,
say no?
I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna hold off because we don't have all the details online.
We just checked the oven. It's
If
not
you- if
quite
you're-
ready to be told.
If you're smart, you can figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
But one thing I think we're discontinuing is Beyond County Lines. I kind of thought about that a little bit, and I'm just like, if we really wanted to do something, it would just be a podcast.
Yeah, it would just be a podcast. No, it makes sense.
Yeah. I think I think with doing
No, I
that
think it was
show,
a great idea for like. It
I was
works
like-
for what it was supposed to be. At first.
I think like every time I tried to do it, I was always felt like I was stretching myself thin.
Sure. It was just
like
kind of another
trying
extra,
to get it done. Like, oh, it's just another thing we have to do.
Sure.
Yeah, and I mean, we had a bit. The last few times, probably like sub 10 sessions we've done. It's just like the triple up of shit where we were then like Werewolf by Night, Tales of the Jedi.
Well, it's funny we were doing
and, like,
that, but
something
then
else.
now we've just kind of moved to doing 2-hour podcasts instead on the weekends. Now, like instead of having 3, we've been doing like hour and a half ones, which is fun. I love it. It's great.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like I feel like the last couple have been
Oh,
more
the last
like,
couple, yeah,
have been
you're
more
right.
like over the last month or so. It's been
Yeah.
more like we just had our our longer form podcasts.
Right, because it was like God of War
Pentiment 2
Ragnarok
was a long one.
and
Yeah,
Pentiment. They
yeah.
were both
they
like
were meaty
longer.
guys. Yeah.
And then we had, I think before that was Callisto and something else. What
Yeah.
there was? Oh, the Guardians review. So that was like a double upper. But yeah. We if you're not
Yeah.
you look like. I don't know why you're stretching. I was like, what does he want? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe up,
Absolutely.
follow.
A like on the YouTube video goes a long way as well.
Yeah, I think one of our goals for this year for the podcast, or at least for me, and this is the first time you're hearing this, I would like to see more engagement with likes and comments and reviews, and maybe not Discord. That's a little bit different. But yeah, I would just like to see like more comments, and that's something any YouTuber's gonna strive for, right? Just not just views, just like, hey,
engagement.
Like, I want to see like what people are saying and interacting with. The TikTok has been great. That was something that actually really paid off. But I think I know we've gotten views off of it. Again, it's like I don't know who's coming from TikTok over to the podcast unless you're like telling me you are. And that's kind of where the like interaction thing is. The interaction on TikTok has never been great. I know you don't have TikTok.
Yeah.
But like
No,
sometimes I'm
yeah.
like, oh, dude, I would like.
Dude, it's a good app for spreading that
I'm trying
stuff
to think
for sure.
what TikTok we just posted that did really fucking well. But anyway.
Yep. Well, thank you all so much if you've been watching with us live on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network. We really appreciate your time. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network. We are on all your favorite social media platforms as well. At Delco Nerds is our handle on basically everything. Aside from our Facebook page, we got a Discord channel. That's all going to be linked down below. All this information can be found on our website, DelcoNerdNetwork.com. You can email us with your comments, questions, or concerns, DelcoNerds@gmail.com. We'd be happy to get back to you. Excuse me. But for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy New Year. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.